Hello, it has been a minute. That's why I want to do a life update because life has been lifing. So I just wanted to put in a quick disclaimer before diving into today's topic. And that disclaimer is this is not a video where we're sipping tea and being messy. That's not what this is. I just feel like I need to say that because part of healing, which I'll get into later on in the video, is you realize certain things not just about yourself but about other people, and it's a lot to take in, and sometimes it hurts. So the things that I might be describing is not to be messy. So that's why I have to process things first instead of just explaining things based off of emotion. You have to process it so you're not being messy about it. So yeah, this is not exposing anybody or sipping some tea. I'm not dishing no tea. This is just a brief summary of things that I'm learning about myself and others and just processing all of that. And it's very hard, but it's not impossible. So yeah, that's the disclaimer. If you're the type of person that likes gossip and tea sipping, this ain't it. Okay, just wanted to let you know that. So yeah, let's just dive into the video. Thanks for watching. So, healing is hard. 2024 life update. So I'll give a quick backstory. My healing journey began in 2020. Check out the show of 2020 video to learn more about that. Healing is hard. Healing stings. Healing hurts. You learn a lot about yourself as well as others. You reflect, process, let go, and move on. It's not easy, which is why everyone isn't willing to do it, but it's one of the best things you'll ever do. So I'm going to break this down to things I've learned about myself, what I learned about others, and then you'll get the life update after that. Okay, so it's all going to flow and make sense. I'm not going to tell you all the things that I've learned about myself or all the things I've learned about other people so far because, number one, this is an ongoing process. Healing never stops once you start. And number two, I don't need all that information. Okay, these are just a few examples. I don't need to be nosy. So, a few things I've learned about myself. Some bad habits I've picked up over the years, why I did or why I still do them, and I'll give a couple of examples about that. So, examples of those examples. Being petty, that's a big one. People pleasing, being on autopilot. Being petty that's like, I'll call it my shadow side. Her name is Brooklyn. She be petty, okay? And if you were on my Instagram, especially in late 2019, throughout 2020, maybe even early 2021, but mostly 2020, I was petty, okay? Very petty, posting stuff in my stories because I know that there are lurkers looking at my social media, and I was just showing them that I know you're looking, and because you're looking, boom, I'm saying this, I'm saying that. Now, it was still vague, but whoever was looking knew, well, they should know what it was about. But yeah, that's one of my things that I'm not proud of, being petty, but I've had my petty moments, and sometimes it still slips up, but I'm not I don't be posting stuff in the stories anymore. Not because I'm not on Instagram, because even if I was, I wouldn't post that stuff anymore. I'm a recovering people pleaser. When you do that, you prioritize others before yourself. And I remember when people would ask, oh, what's one thing you would like to be remembered by? And my answer would always be, oh, that I always helped others. But when I think about that, it's like, what about you though? Like, I also want to be remembered for prioritizing myself and taking care of myself as well as others, not just others. Like, I need to come first. Another thing is being on autopilot. I was on autopilot for a long time, so I'm learning how to be more present. There were some very significant moments that happened, like some big events that happened, and I wasn't even fully present there. So it's just like, now I catch myself when I start to go on autopilot, and yeah, I'm being more aware now. Yeah, so those are some examples, and I'm overcoming these habits by just observing what I'm doing and like processing everything, and just learning how to get out of those things. So it could be, I don't know, I guess you overcome these things by acknowledging that you do these things. So that's the first step, is just acknowledging and admitting these things. And once it's out there, then you can overcome it because you're aware now, and you take the steps you need to get over it. So some things that I learned about others. The biggest one is people projecting insecurities onto me. Now, I mentioned this before in my 30 things I've learned over the years. One of the biggest things that I've realized is that people project onto other people. An example of that, a lot of people would make comments about my hair, my weight, my style, and my intelligence. Hair is like one of the biggest ones, which is why you see me talk about natural hair all the time, and I'm not going to shut up about it. So yeah, like when my hair was relaxed, it was, I was always getting complaints about why it's always in a ponytail. And then when I was transitioning to my natural hair, it's like, your hair looks a mess. Your hair looked better when it was straight. This, that, and a third. And people do that just because they feel like they can't do it, or they're used to a certain way that's considered normal. They project that onto you. Like, just because they feel like they can't do it, or that they shouldn't do it, they feel some type of way when you do it. No matter what you do, everybody's not going to be satisfied or happy with what you do. So you need to just do what's best for you. Okay? Just live your life for you. Do what you're most comfortable with, because it's your life. People made fun of my intelligence because I was very to myself growing up. Because I didn't really talk much, they assumed that I was stupid, but I was actually smarter than them. I was just afraid of saying the wrong thing or stuttering, because I got judged for how I spoke, for how I walked. I got judged for how I walked, how I talked, pretty much everything. So that's why now I'm like practically immune to people commenting on certain things about me. Another thing was my weight. I grew up in the early 2000s, and that was the time where skinny was in. Like, it's just crazy how certain weights, how certain weights are a trend. Like, that's so stupid. But anyway, early 2000s, skinny was in. So, and I used to watch all those shows. I used to watch America's Next Top Model, and I used to get those magazines like GL magazine and was it Teen Vogue? And you see that stuff. But also like, yeah, shows, music videos, you see what is considered the beauty standard. And then you're being told by other people that you're overweight, and people making fun of you because you're gaining weight kind of fast, and you got the chubby cheeks and you're getting stretch marks. And was just a part of puberty, you know, just growing into a young woman and getting made fun of for it. It's just like so many people have insecurities. It's because people are mean. People are mean, and then they just feel some type of way about themselves and they take it on others so that they can feel better. Because certain people, they'll keep nitpicking at one particular thing, and that's because that's how they may feel some type of way about themselves. So whatever, girl. That's one of the things I had to learn. In my style, like I was kind of tomboyish when I was younger. Like when I would say my early teenage years, I was kind of tomboyish. So then I got D's for that, and then it's like, then somebody said in the 10th grade I came back, like it was a new school year, and I was wearing I guess more feminine clothing, and then someone said, "Oh, you look like a girl," and I said, "I look like a girl? I've always been a girl. What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh, you know what I mean." Yeah, okay. And then I remember a friend who is no longer a friend for many reasons. She said, we were talking about prom, and I was saying there was a certain dress I wanted, and she said, "Oh, I can't imagine you in a dress." So I said, "What do you expect me to come to prom with, in a tuxedo? Like, what are you saying?" Like, do people hear themselves before they speak? Like, do they think before they allow words to come out of their mouth? I really don't think so. Another thing that I've learned about others is hanging out with people who didn't really like me. I'm sure many people can relate to this as well. So an example of that is they weren't happy when I achieved something. I remember one time, we were talking about taking the driver's test, or the driving test. No, not the driver's license test. It was the permit. So they said they got a 70 or something like that. And I said, "Oh, well, I got all the answers right. And I got my permit now." And then the look on their face just looked like they weren't happy that I passed. They weren't happy that I got a higher grade than them. They just looked like they were trying to force a smile. And it didn't really hit me until later. Like, there were a few moments where they were not actually happy for me. Like not every time, but there were times where I had said something that I had accomplished and they just did not seem happy. Like, they said that they were, but you could tell deep down that they were not happy for me, and then later admitted that they were jealous and was actually trying to compete with me. And it's like, why are you trying to compete with me? I'm only competing with myself over here. So I don't know what you're doing, but don't waste your time trying to compete with me, because are you really competing with me? Because you're not really doing a good job if that's what you're doing. That might be the pettiness coming out. People, they might gaslight you, try to manipulate you, or guilt trip you into doing something like it's your fault that this happened, or try to make you feel bad for them when they're in the wrong. And it's just twisting your words and making you feel like you're the bad person, when in reality you're not the bad person. They're the bad person. But they want you to think that so they could feel better about themselves. And that's probably going back to projecting again. I'm telling you, a lot of things tie into projection. Okay, that's a key point. Through these things, I've learned why those people behaved or still behave that way. And part of that is because of their insecurities. They haven't dealt with their inner child. They're traumatized and they haven't done the work on themselves. And some people are not willing or ready to do that. Just because someone has not dealt with their inner child doesn't mean that you have to deal with their inner child. If you're on two different paths, and if they're not aligning with you, then you don't have to put up with that. That's kind of like what I've been learning so far since I've started this journey. There's a lot of things, but that's like the main examples. Because the more I get into this, the more dots that I'm able to connect. There's so many aha moments, and then there's moments where I'm like, wow, that stings. As well as myself for putting up with certain things, and for other people who, like, they may not have had bad intentions, but their words, like, you internalize their words, or like they may have meant no harm, but they don't know how to talk to people sometimes, and it just does not go over well. I remember I went to a family member's house, and somebody, like, we came in, and I guess it was a family friend. I barely remember what this person looked like, I guess because I blocked it from my memory. But they said, oh, hey, how you doing? And then before I could respond, they said, oh yeah, I forgot, you don't talk to anybody. And I was just standing there like, what? I didn't do anything. I didn't even get a chance to talk. So I was like, okay. So I didn't say anything for the rest of the night because I don't talk. So yeah, that's just another example of people just not being aware of how they might sound to other people, or how what they say or do can be internalized and the effects it can have on people. And then they wonder why people distance themselves from them. So life update, like healing currently. So I'm digging deeper into these issues. Oh my goodness. Reparenting my inner teenager, being in tune with my emotions, and facing new challenges. So digging deeper into issues, which is kind of like what I spoke about earlier, reparenting my inner teen. I'm at that phase right now, yeah, where my teenage self is where the traumatic stuff began. Because, being a teenager, that's your most sensitive time. And then when you're being bullied, made fun of, and, you start to question things, but you're just told to just do what you're told. And now you're seen as, being rude and rebellious when all you're doing is just asking questions. You're just trying to reparent her and say, you know what? Yes, I'm here for you. I'm listening to you. I see you, I acknowledge you, I respect you, I'm here for you, I'm taking care of you. Being in tune with emotions, so I have taught myself not to cry unless I can't take it anymore, and that is not good. Because I had internalized that crying is a sign of weakness, but it's actually not. It's a sign of strength. I'm not a robot. I am human. Therefore, I should be allowed to cry whenever I feel like I'm about to cry. So, I've been learning how to just let those emotions go whenever I feel like crying, and not bottling that up and just waiting until I'm to myself to cry. I received some very terrible news this year, and that has been
As much as it hurts, it's also teaching me how to just allow my emotions to flow. And when that time comes, then I can share that terrible news. But just know that I have been going through it this year. That's why I want to do a live update, because there's a reason why I'm not uploading as much as I would like to. There's so much going on. And I don't owe an explanation, but I just want to share because I feel like I've been called to share this stuff. Facing new challenges, of course, that would be the terrible news, but also just being put in certain positions to direct me in the right direction. Like I've been given new challenges, like just stepping into more of a leadership role and taking charge of more things. Like I've been given more responsibilities and just learning how to adapt to that. I have been used to people telling me what to do, and now that I have stepped into this more confident space, as well as being given the opportunity to be a leader, I'm just like, it's good, but it's a lot to adjust to. So I'm trying to balance everything out. So that's that. That's mentally, that's the things that's going on. And physically, I've had some injuries this year. Not pleasant. Okay. I think it was late spring. I hit my elbow pretty hard to the point where I had to have a cast over it. It was not fun, but seems like I'm always getting injured at least once a year. I think I wore it for about a month or so, and then I was finally better. And then not too long after that, my neck and my back were in pain. I don't know if it was my posture, because it was after I did the DIY, the video that I posted not too long ago. I had recorded that months ago, but right after I had recorded it, my neck felt really stiff, and then later it spread to my back, and then like a couple days later it was so bad that it hurt to move, and I wanted to cry so bad. Like it hurt so much. I put ointment, ice, hot water bottles, everything, to the point where I was about to go to the doctor to get it checked out, but then got better, so I didn't have to. And then I noticed that when I had woke up, my neck was it wasn't aligned with my pillow. So I said, okay, I need a new pillow. So the ones I had, I threw it out because I'm like, I'm not finna get all discombobulated. I have enough problems as it is. So I got this new pillow from Amazon, which has really helped. That's one of the main things that helped my neck. I'll link that in the description in case you might need it. It really helped me out. Outside of injuries, I've been getting a lot more headaches than usual. It probably is because I haven't been sleeping as much and probably a lot of stress. But the thing is, I don't feel stressed mentally, but my body does. So I'm trying not to do the most. Girl, I'm still figuring this out. It's just so much. So yeah, headaches and exhaustion. I've been exhausted. Even if I do get a decent amount of sleep, I still feel exhausted. That's what's been going on. Yeah, and even today I just had a moment to myself. Yeah, I'm just taking everything in one step at a time, being more realistic with things, and just trying my best, girl. Although life is lifing, I'm still trying to live my life the best way that I can.
So in conclusion, I want to wrap things up this way. In conclusion of all this healing going on, I've been able to rediscover what I actually like. So I realized that I like a lot of 90s fashion. 90s, maybe a little bit of early 2000s sprinkled in there, but mainly 90s. I'm really into 90s music too, so it makes sense. Also, yeah, unsubscribed from groupthink. So when you're around people a lot, you tend to think the way they do, especially if you're from a certain environment where you're kind of like raised into believing what other people believe just because those are the rules. But you know, when you grow up and you separate yourself from everybody else, you discover, you know what, I don't really agree with that, or I don't actually like that. So that's another thing. There's a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with certain people, and depending on the situation, I keep it to myself, especially politics and religion. Then another thing is creating balance and overcoming fears. So I am really struggling with maintaining balance, not just work-life balance, but just balance in general with my schedule. It seems like I'm always doing something. I have to make time to do things that I actually enjoy so that I don't lose my mind. And then overcoming fears, as I've mentioned before, maybe not in this video, but in other videos, I experienced a lot of anxiety, and I've had it for a long time, but I didn't actually know until recently. So I'm taking little steps to overcome certain things and try not to let fear take over my life, pretty much. As always, I suggest a healing journey, but it's not for everybody. That's why everyone doesn't do it, you know, because it's hard. It's difficult because you have to face a lot of trauma and things like that. But once you do that, things will make more sense and you'll have a better understanding of stuff. You'll be more open-minded and not so closed off to everything. And you become a better person because of it. So upcoming content, I recorded something before this one, but yeah, I wanted to see this one first, so I'll post that right after this. After that, I don't know. I'll still do some hair stuff. Like after I finish the Donna's recipe, I want to go back to TGIN and see if I like that better, because I wanted to experiment with different stuff first to see if there was anything that I liked better than TGIN. But I do like Donna's recipe, but I just want to try the TGIN one more time, and then I'll do a video about that. Other than that, this is not going to be a hair channel. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. I notice I get the most views when I do hair content, but that's just a piece of j9illustrator, okay? Artist, designer, naturalista. All right, so that's it. I don't know if you hear the music from my neighbors, but I guess they'll be my background music. Thanks for watching. You can like the video if you want, subscribe if you want. See you in the next one. Oh, I also might bring back Drawcember. I liked doing that last year. I want to make it a yearly thing, but it depends on how life is lifing. But I'm going to try to do something for the holiday season, okay? So thanks for watching, and see you around. Bye. Disclaimer again. If you're watching this for some sort of entertainment or to get some tea or whatever, this ain't the video for you, boo-boo, okay? This ain't the video for tea, to sip tea. Let me start over.